Namaste.
So today, as we head into another dark moon, and there's a little bit of, it feels like a bit of craziness going on. One of the thoughts I had for practice today was doing some poses, really using some head support. And head support would soften the forehead, which then often softens that neocortex. So I'll give you some options if you don't have props. I, of course, have blankets, bolsters, cushions, chairs, which can all be used as a form of head support. And what I might show you is the way to do a pose with a few different options. And even if you don't have the support for it, you can always place a hand on your forehead and just stroke down towards the eyes. And that can really help give that effect. Like if we do downward dog, you may need more head support, but the idea is to just demonstrate how just supporting that forehead can just start to calm down the nervous system and then just allow calmness through the practice. So let's begin. So we're going to come into some variations with forward-facing hero pose or child's pose, and I'll show you so many different props you can use for this. So we'll start off with big toes together, knees wide. If you had a cushion like a bolster, you could just come into it, onto the bolster, hands together, forehead on top of hands or forehead on top of the bolster, elbows down low. Another way to come into this pose, if you don't have any props, is stack your hands and just bring your forehead on those hands. That's a nice way to come. And both of these positions really will release your shoulders, like you just soften your shoulders here. You can also come in with like a pillow like this, and if you want to stretch the arms, you can just bring the arms forward. So depending on how you are today and what prop you have, let's start this way, whatever works for you. You can, of course, bring those elbows down and the hands on whatever prop you have. And then just take a few breaths, breathing into your nose. See if you can soften the forehead. And then slowly come up on those shins, lift the sit bones up, bring your support forward or just stack your head and come into this variation with the caps that allows your chest to drop more forward. If you've got the cushion or blanket, you just put your head there. Couple of breaths here. And for the next variation, we're just going to use the arms. Bring the elbows forward, hands up for a little bit more shoulder stretch, armpit stretch. And just put your forehead on your arms here. Then bring your hands back up and bring the sit bones back to the heels. Now you can have your support. You're just going to walk over to one thigh and come into that sort of it's not really a twist, it's just hanging off to one thigh. And again, if it's easier to just fold the arms down, you can do it that way. Or you can keep the arms extended long. And then slowly lift the head up and walk the hands to the other thigh so that the torso comes over to the thigh, and you just hang over that thigh, head down on your support. Or like I said, you can stack the hands here. Or just put the forehead on that cushion, or you can have the arms long. Slowly come up, just come back to sitting and just kind of notice your state, notice your forehead, notice your breath. And then bring your hands forward, and we're going to come into a lunge that I've been playing with. So just bring one foot forward and start with the, kind of in a square here, so not too far forward. And if you need head support, you can put the cushion there, or you can just put the forehead on the knee. And maybe have the fingertips on the floor. Just see how you go in this, because we're going to do a few variations. And like I said, if you need to be more upright, you just put the pillow here. Maybe the hands come back behind you a little bit. And then if you can walk the foot a little forward, to get a little bit more lunge, but keep the head on the knee or on the cushion. And then slowly bring that knee back and bring the other knee forward, again more in that perpendicular upright from the floor position. And if you need that head support, put the cushion there. Or if you can bring the head to the knee, you bring the head to the knee. And slowly inch that foot a little more forward. See if you can keep the head on the knee. And then bring that leg back. And then place your hands down. You'll put a little interlock finger. We're just going to go into like a half headstand and see if you can maintain that calmness in the forehead. Just bring the head down and straighten the legs just for a few breaths. And then bend the knees down. And if you have enough head support for downward dog, you can place that down. If you don't worry about it. But you can, if you need more height, you just stack a bit of blankets or pillows. And then just come into downward dog, and you sometimes have to adjust where you are and see if you can place the forehead on whatever your support is. Bring the knees down again into cat big knees. Just a couple of breaths in this pose as I sit on my cat. And then come up for another downward dog. And then walk the hands and feet towards each other. And one of the things I love about, I'll show you a couple of ways to do this pose, depending on what props you have. I'll show you two. We're going to do Uttanasana, standing forward bend. So if you have a chair, you can just put your head on the chair. You can stack the hands here as well. So that's one way to do Uttanasana. Another way with the chair, and I love this way. Usually your sit bones are against the wall, but this kind of chair, you can just lean forward and you can bring it more forward if you need more space. And you hang into Uttanasana here. What I love about this is it folds right in the crease here, but it just gives me something to support myself. And then the other way with a bolster, but you can just do this with a cushion. You can hang into Uttanasana, holding a cushion around your head, holding your elbows. Or with A bolster, again, it's kind of like a chair, holding your wrist behind the bolster, forehead on the bolster. So I gave you a couple of options, so do which one works for you. And then slowly roll up. Just stand in Tadasana. Just notice your breathing, perhaps your head, perhaps your forehead. See if you can take that state into a few standing poses. See if you can maintain that quietness to a few standing poses. So we'll step the legs out wide, and I'll do mirror image. So left toes to heel, right heel to toe, and then just reach with that right arm, finding the shin or the thigh. Perhaps we'll just keep the arm down today. See if we can maintain that calmness that those head support poses give us. Slowly come up. Bring the feet wide, parallel. Take that right foot toe to heel, left foot heel to toe. Reaching that left arm out, finding the shin or the thigh, and just keeping the other arm down. Inhale, slowly come up. Bring the feet parallel. Back into Tadasana. Did by doing a standing pose change your state, or were you able to maintain that calmness in the standing pose? So we'll try another one of those standing poses. So bring the feet wide again. Take the left foot toe to heel, right foot heel to toe. And then bend deeply and just place the forearm. Keep the other arm down. So can you maintain that calmness even though the legs are working pretty hard? Inhale, slowly coming up. Bring the feet parallel. Taking that right foot toe to heel, left foot heel to toe, bending with the left forearm on the thigh, and keeping the other arm down. Just trying to maintain that calmness in the forehead. And inhale, slowly come up. Now keep those legs wide. And again, this is where we have some options for the pose. You can either have a chair for head support, So that would be legs wide. The head support can be here. You can, if you have no props, you can just, hang out here, perhaps holding onto your legs a little bit, just letting the head go forward if you can't go too far down. What's nice about these thick bolsters is, again, you can put your head on them or hang forward like Uttanasana. So whatever's going to allow you to bring that head towards the ground, softening that forehead. Then to come up, you need to walk the hands forward. Just take a few breaths there. You never want to come out too quickly. And then you can either bring the hands to the hips or you can walk them up the legs. And then depending on what you have with you, you can have the chair for head support, or like I say, the bolster's kind of high, you can give yourself that. Or if you're a little closer to the ground, you can use the bolster this way, or you can stack the hands on your pillow or whatever you have to just come into Uttanasana. Slowly come up. Bring your legs together. And this is when it's also helpful to have whatever you have for head support. We're going to come first into Dandasana. And this is, of course, where you might need to sit on a blanket. But then we're going to come into Janashirasana, head to knee pose. So bring that right foot back. And again, this is the perfect pose if you have a challenge with your, you need a chair. These chairs are great because I can put my foot on the bar and then I can rest my head on the chair. But that might be too high for you. But this is a way to start. And even if you can't go very low on this pose, you just bring that chair closer, stack the forehead. Just try to maintain that foot up. And then, of course, there's the options with the bolster. Or the bolster can go a little bit low. Or the pillow or the blanket. inhale, slowly come up. Bring that right foot forward. You might just want to wiggle on those sit bones to get your sit bones underneath you. And then bring that left foot back. And again, you may have more flexibility on one side than the other, and you may start with more height and then you can take some away as you stay here. So whatever works for you, the chair worked for you, great. If you just need something to stack your, hands on, stacking your hands gives you a little bit more. Inhale, slowly come up. And if you want to try an alternative for Shavasana, we'll do prone Shavasana, which means lying. Usually we're supine, which means lying on your back. And this is where you can take pillows, folded blankets, where you place your hips up on the bolster, come forward, and again, rest your head forward. You can put something under your head. You can either have the legs more or less straight or a little turned out, depending on your body. And then if you need to turn the head to one side and support it with your hands, you can do that. So that's one option. The other option is feet on the wall, feet on the chair, whatever suits your body. But I just thought I would give another option along the theme of what we were moving through today. So if you happen to be laying forward, just take care of what you need for your head and your neck. As you settle into the pose, just notice your breathing. Notice how your forehead feels. Notice any sensation. Starting your awareness, noticing your face, is the forehead widening, softening. Is the space between the forehead widening and softening. Are the eyeballs resting into the eye socket? cheeks soften. And feel the space between your ears. About your jaw and your chin. Is your throat softening? What about your collarbone notches? Are the collarbones widening out to your shoulders? Are the shoulder blades softening? By softening your shoulders, does the rest of your arms, your upper arms, elbows, forearms, and hands, are they softening? What about your rib cage? Is there space between the ribs? Breath flow freely in the ribs. Flow into the abdominal area, pelvis. What about the breath flowing into the thigh sockets that meets the legs? Legs now soften down to the knees, to the ankles, to the toes. And then again, revisit your forehead. Just notice it's feeling soft or tense or spacious. Slowly begin to reawaken your body, stretching to your toes, your feet, hands, your fingers. Just notice how you can slowly begin to bring movement into the body. Find your way to your side, especially if you've been prone. You go into that C curve on your side, slowly come up to sitting. And perhaps in your own practice, you might add some days where you give yourself a little head support. Thanks for coming, and namaste.